Good morning, Nerdfighteria. This video was supposed to be about my adventures in bookbinding, but I haven't actually finished all the binding yet, and I haven't finished all the reading, so I can't actually give you reviews of the different techniques yet. And then it was supposed to be about fixing my fire staff with some footage of me spinning on fire, but there are two screws on it that are sheared off that I can't get out, and so that project's in timeout right now. And then it was supposed to be an explainer about the woman who invented the dishwasher, but it turns out that the truth resists simplicity, shockingly, and so I didn't have the brain cells to deal with nuance or historical documents that conflict with each other right now. So instead, I guess you're just getting some thoughts from places, but it's not an interesting place, it's just floor time, featuring shaky cam because I am holding the camera above my face with my arm. Floor time feels very neurodivergent coded to me, and so I'm going to tell you about a book that I finished last night or earlier today, depending on your relationship to the sun, that felt like it had very good unofficial autism representation. I don't think that autism as a diagnosis exists in universe, so it wasn't explicit, but I thought it was really good, and the character had a lot of autistic traits. The book was called Navigational Entanglements by Aliette de Bodard. The main character, Vietnamese, I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly because I think it's Vietnamese, and I definitely don't speak Vietnamese, has a really hard time interacting with people. She describes her experience growing up as people meeting her and getting to know her and then leaving her because she didn't fit in. And I wouldn't say that I experienced this when I was younger, but it absolutely describes my experience in college, where I just kind of flitted from group to group, trying to get to know people, and never really forming more than cursory friendships. And I couldn't figure out why. I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. Later in the book, she describes an instance about someone who came back, where they left her and then they came back and accepted her. And this doesn't precisely parallel my experiences, but it does sort of rhyme with my experience with my current living group. Part of my problem with making friends is that I can't be in that hyper-social getting to know you energy for very long, and so I start getting to know people and then I get worn out and I have to pull back. And by the time I'm ready to re-engage, everyone has already formed their little groups and they're not looking for new people anymore. But with my current living group, when I was ready to re-engage, they were still happy to have me. They were warm and accepting, and they welcomed me into the fold. They didn't care when I joined, they were just happy that I was there. But by far my favorite part of the book was the description of Nee while she's having a meltdown. I think that it is the most authentic description of a meltdown that I've read in fiction, and I'm gonna read you a couple of excerpts from the book, a couple of quotes that really explain it. An onslaught of utter fatigue and panic assaulted her. Everything she'd been keeping at bay suddenly came into sharp and unbearable focus, even Elder Lou's voice resonating painfully under the metal ceilings of the habitats. She was sitting too close to me, talking too loudly. Every clink of her cup was too much, an echo that felt like it was drilling into Nee's brain. On the verge of utterly coming apart. Definitely couldn't be trusted with common sense. When I'm tired, Nee said slowly, carefully, everything seems to jumble together. Things get too loud, too bright. I feel like something terrible will happen if I don't get to my own rooms immediately. That I'll lash out at everyone with shadow, or collapse inwards and never recover. And in the moment, I'm not sure which is worse. So anyway, that's my low-effort fourth attempt at making a video. I hope you enjoyed hearing about this book, and please let me know if anyone else has read this book. I think it's quite good, and would be excited if other people read it based on my recommendation. Also, there's space jellyfish, so there's that. DFTBA.